let's start with the session. And first of all, let me introduce you and let me welcome you all to our organization, Pregrad. And we are more than happy to conduct this webinar with all of you, where we will be learning a lot more than mentioned in the posters and messages and LinkedIn. So I'll introduce, first of all, Shruti ma'am, who will be joining us. The guest speaker of the session will be giving us all the insights, every expertise she has till now in the industry for last 11 years. So she will be sharing all of the details with us. And till then, before moving to the main content, I would request all of you students to if you have any questions throughout the session, you can always write in the chat box. We are open to answer. And also, if there is something, the recording will be made available to you. So you don't need to worry in case if you keep leaving out or if there is any kind of network issues. So that was all the key points to remember. Now let's start with the session without any further ado. So first of all, welcome Shruti ma'am for being here with us. Let us start with the basic introduction and what slowly let's get into the industry then.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And hi, everyone. I'm Shruti, and I have a total of 11 years of experience. And first of all, thank you for having me as a guest speaker. It's a privilege to share my experience of the last 11 years in the industry. I started my career as an Android application developer. I graduated with MCA, Masters in Computer Applications from Delhi University. And after that, I started my career as an Android application developer with Samsung Electronics. And there I worked on their flagship smartphones, such as Samsung Galaxy S3. S3 was just out, Note 2, Note series, and all of the flagship models. And there I worked on their video and gallery application modules. And after a stint of around 4 years, I moved to Infosys, where I worked as a technology analyst. And there I switched my career from as an Android application developer to the web-based application development. So there I worked entirely into the backend application development, and there I was there for around another 4 years before I made my transition from Infosys to Citibank. And in Citibank again, I worked as an application developer, backend application developer, and we were working on one of their applications, which was about making interinstitutional transfers for the customers based out of North America region. And yeah, I was there for around 1.5 years before I made my switch to my current company, which is Dell EMC. And here I'm working as a principal software engineer come technical architect. And we are working on one of the cloud storage products here right now, which is about thing of AWS and about Dell Object Scale. And yeah, that's me. That's my introduction. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I am not very sure how much, from where should I begin because you already have a lot of expertise in a lot of domain. It's not like in a single domain we can say. So there are multiple domains that we can talk about, we can discuss about, and so let's start and let's get into the details and the very first beginning of your journey.
Mhm.
So how was your college? You graduated from Delhi University. You did your master's. So how was that, and how did you, head this first internship? Because cracking an internship in, such a great MNC that was Samsung, it is a really big deal. So let us know because a lot of students here are college-going students. So,
Mhm.
so give us insights on the same.
Yeah. So, studying in Delhi University itself gave us a lot of exposure in terms of, what kind of questions that are being asked from the interviewers when we go ahead for the interviews for internship or even for the permanent jobs. So we used to have kind of a mock interviews with our seniors, and that actually set the base for us. And I mean, it was just like an add-on to what we were already studying as a part of the course. So our extremely highly educated professors at Delhi University actually set the base, and plus the curriculum was such that so we were already apt with um, sure, I can use Hindi as well, Arpit. I'll try to communicate both in English as well as in Hindi. I hope nobody else has a problem with it, and please let me know in the chat if anyone has it. Okay. सो मतलब when जब हम दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी में थे तो वहाँ पर we got the opportunity of, I mean, with the curriculum that we already had our basis set. और उसके बाद जब internship की बारी आई तो उस टाइम पे हमारे सीनियर्स ऑलरेडी हमारा मॉक इंटरव्यूज ले रहे थे. सो लाइक दैट वाज काइंड ऑफ एन a practice as such. और उसके बाद the things that they shared with us, क्योंकि उनको ऑलरेडी एक्सपीरियंस था, वो ऑलरेडी इंडस्ट्री में थे, तो जो उन्होंने हमारे साथ शेयर किया विच वाज ऑल अबाउट हाउ यू कैन प्रिपेयर. सो मॉक इंटरव्यूज तो जो थे वो थे ही, और उसके अलावा दे आस्क्ड अस टू डू लीड कोड, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग, हैकर रैंक, एंड इंटर्नशिप जो होती है, और इवन एट द बिगिनिंग ऑफ द करियर, especially in the case of software domain. तो later on जब 3-4 साल का एक्सपीरियंस हो जाता है तो उसके बाद सिस्टम डिजाइन एक्चुअली में आता है. इनफैक्ट आजकल तो 2-3 साल के बाद ही सिस्टम डिजाइन पूछने लग जाते हैं इंटरव्यूज में. तो बट योर डीएसए इनिशियली, लाइक राइट इन द बिगिनिंग, इंटर्नशिप के टाइम पे भी और जब आपकी फर्स्ट जॉब है तब भी, यू नीड टू रियली कॉन्सेंट्रेट ऑन डीएसए प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग. और उसके लिए they asked us to do, and I think that it applies right now as well for all the candidates that we have, right? तो आप अभी भी लीड कोड है या हैकर रैंक है, आई थिंक इट्स अ मस्ट. वहां पर जाकर प्रैक्टिस करना इट्स अ मस्ट. इट्स, और ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर आपको 1-2 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है और आप अभी अभी इंडस्ट्री में जा रहे हो तभी ये आपके लिए काम आएगा. इट इज एप्लीकेबल इवन नाउ. आज भी आई हैव अ टोटल ऑफ 11 years experience. My lead code count is around 865, and I still do lead code. It's not that कि कभी प्रिपेयर करना है तो ही. I like doing it क्योंकि वो आपकी ओवरऑल कोडिंग स्किल्स भी इम्प्रूव करता है. So basically that's what I want to say कि when you are going out in the industry and when you are trying to get that internship or that full-time employment, what you need to concentrate right now is DSA. That's the must. So yeah, I mean, at least this is what you need to start with, actually.
Okay, so when we are talking about all the languages that needs to be learned, what do you think? Where should a student start from? Because I think DSA with C or C++ or Java or
Mhm.
Python could be done.
Yeah.
So what do you think
Yes.
if it is a first year student or let's say second year student who are looking forward to code or
Mhm.
get into the programming field? So where should he or she start with?
सो जब जब इंटरव्यूज का टाइम आता है, यूजुअली इंटरव्यूअर्स, अगर आप मैंक या फैंग की बात करें या फिर अगर आप टियर 1 ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की बात करें, तो वहां पर इट डजेंट मैटर कि आप किस लैंग्वेज में कोड कर रहे हो. uh, आजकल आई डोंट नो, मतलब आई यूज्ड टू कोड इट इन जावा specifically, but I've seen people doing it in Python. Python is actually pretty fast as compared to Java. आप C++ में अगर ऐप हैं तो आप वो भी यूज कर सकते हैं. Java तो है ही, and then there is Python. So basically, the intent is कि it's not about which programming language you're using. It's about how good you are in that programming language. Usually, interviewers को कोई problem नहीं होता है अगर if you want to, I mean, in fact, they give you the freedom to choose the language of your choice. So language is not really a problem. The thing is that you need to be very good at the language that you are choosing. You have a very good hands-on in that. क्योंकि इंटरव्यू के टाइम पे ऑलरेडी हम लोग इतना स्ट्रेस्ड आउट होते हैं, इतना स्ट्रेसफुल होता है वो इंटायर इन्वायरमेंट, कि उस टाइम पे अगर आप अपना एक नया लैंग्वेज या फिर एक ऐसी लैंग्वेज चूज करें जिसमें कि आप ज्यादा कंफर्टेबल नहीं है, तो वो एक्चुअली में आपके प्रेशर को और एड ऑन कर देता है. सो रादर देन चूजिंग अ लैंग्वेज जिसमें आप ऐप नहीं है, यू गो, और या फिर वो बहुत ही इंडस्ट्री वाइड यूज हो रहा है, यू गो फॉर द लैंग्वेज इन विच यू आर गुड इन एंड यूज दैट लैंग्वेज. क्योंकि डीएसए है, कोड लिखना है, it really doesn't matter. जो आजकल मार्केट में चल रहा है, सो ऑल्सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन कि आप किस पोजीशन के लिए हायर हो रहे हो। तो यूजुअली जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिया होता है कि आपको कौन सी लैंग्वेज में यू आर गोइंग टू वर्क इन दैट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। तो यूजुअली सी प्लस प्लस जावा पाइथन, go lang I mean there are a lot of languages really, but in fact जब भी इंटरव्यूअर्स इंटरव्यू ले रहे होते हैं, यूजुअली इट डजंट हैव टू डू विद द काइंड ऑफ प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज दैट यू आर गोइंग टू यूज इन दैट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, क्योंकि ये एक ऐसा मानना है कि लैंग्वेज सीखने में ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लगता है। इट्स अबाउट द कोर प्रोग्रामिंग स्किल्स, योर प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एबिलिटी, जो कि मैटर करती है एट द टाइम ऑफ इंटरव्यू। सो या
Okay, I think I pretty much agree, and students here are, would agree a lot on this. So when we talk about, since you mentioned in between that when we sit for interviews and everything, we are already stressed out, right? So
yeah.
the number one question is, was it your campus placement, the sensing
Hmm.
electronics, or you tried, completely from outside of your college and outside of your university?
No, it was entirely a campus placement. So Samsung उस time पे आई थी हमारी, to
Okay, and it was campus
get.
placement. And
Yes.
how was your interview experience? I mean, like, how did it go? Was there any kind of before, any interviews already scheduled that you might have
Mhm.
faced any kind of rejections or and all, or was it
Yeah,
just your first?
yeah. No, no, it wasn't my first.
That happens a lot.
Uh, yeah, yeah, it happens a lot. So I had already hello. I think I got dropped off.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. No worries. Mhm.
Yeah. So I was saying, so it wasn't my first interview, and I had already faced rejection, and I don't know, I think 3 or 4 companies already. So I already had a little bit of experience with the stressful situation that it was going to be. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, all right. So, how do, let's say, if somebody sitting for interviews, are there any
Mhm.
kind of special tips you would like to give students that
Mm.
don't be nervous? I guess being nervous is everybody feels nervous, but how to
Yeah.
handle that and give the best out of it. So, if you could share something for the same.
Yeah, so I mean, as you said, like you are bound to get nervous. The situation is such that you are sitting for your for an interview, and basically I mean, you know, so it's important because you're going to get your earning from that job for which you are sitting, for the interview of which you're sitting. So you're bound to get nervous. मतलब वो तो है ही. मतलब there's you can't ignore that. But what you can do is to subside that nervousness is to be prepared fully. I mean, and for that you need to practice a lot. You go ahead, do the mock interviews, you get your resumes. So the first thing should ideally be you go ahead and get your resume reviewed from somebody who is already in the industry and who has got some experience. Get it reviewed, not just from one person but from multiple people. Then you can go ahead for the mock interviews, and even for in the case of mock interviews, you can do two types of mock interviews. One is the pair interviews, right? So if you know a friend who is also going to sit for the interviews, for example, your friend in the college or your friend here. So okay, I think uh, people want me to switch to Hindi, uh, from English to English to Hindi in interview while answering. Okay, in the interview while answering.
Yes.
Uh, no, I no, it's not. You are expected to be giving that interview in English. Why? Because usually an organization is not just located in India, or it's not regional, is what I mean to say. So usually whenever we talk about a multinational company, or if we talk about any Fang, Mang, tier one, tier two, any for that matter, any company for that matter, even Infosys right now has got development centers all across the world, and people there are I mean they are people from US, from different nationalities basically. So it's not that the people who are working there will be able to understand our regional language, which is Hindi, or our national language. That's not true, right? I mean, that's not going to be there anytime. So you need to be able to speak in a language which is general enough, so that the entire, or wherever the organization's development center are located, people there should be able to communicate with you, and therefore it is important to give or be able to give interviews in English. And you may not be very good at the language, and that's fine, you can learn while on the job. But you should be, I mean, you should not be switching between English and Hindi, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
Yes. So, all right. So, when we talk about, let's say, your first internship, that was software engineering. So, a lot of people have a lot of confusion between what is software engineering, what is software development, or
Mhm.
what skills are needed to become one and to crack one. If it is completely DSA or data structures and algorithms, or do we require any other set of tools or languages that we need to learn? So,
Hmm.
how does that happen?
Yeah. So, okay. So first of all, I mean, DSA is important, surely, because I mean, the organizations currently, that's what they ask for. This is what is in trend right now. DSA is problem. I just got a question from someone asking me how many DSA, how many lead code questions are enough. I think it's about quality rather than quantity when you practice, right? Um, I mean, I would suggest going ahead and doing multiple medium level questions and a few hard level questions rather than doing a lot of easy level questions, because that is not going to give you a lot of exposure. And usually organizations ask somewhere in the in the medium level questions, medium to hard level questions, if you're going for a tier one organization. So but do not concentrate on doing a lot of questions. Do concentrate on doing some questions from all the topics that are there. Okay. And apart from this, another important factor is behavioral interviews. Usually it doesn't matter initially in the career, but they do check the fitment of the candidate when they, I mean, when they, ask you in the interviews. So right now, like for the first 2 3 years, there may not be any specific behavioral round for the candidates, or like even if I talk about Google do have a behavioral round as well. That's called Googliness. Okay, so I mean, one should be prepared for that fitment. As well, for that organizational fitment as well, and how you can give out that whether you are a good fit for the organization is with your attitude. Okay. So so what's the one attitude that usually organizations or interviewers look for? It is to never give up. Okay. Even if you're not able to get that question right during the interview, your ability, or rather your focus on not giving up on the question and keep trying, is what can make a difference, for the interviewer. This has happened with me. This is from my own experience, and therefore I can say that it is actually true. Okay. So yeah.
Okay.
Mm. So how to manage? Okay, I'm just getting a question from Divyansh, that how to manage college study and coding from tier three college. See, I think it's all about working hard. To be honest, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not that when I was in college, or even if anyone is from a tier one college or a tier, it's not about which tier college you belong to. It's all about how you're able to take out time from your college work or college, your homework or your classwork, and how you're able to take out time from that entire 24 hours and how much you're able to give to your practice. I would actually like, what you can do in the beginning is try giving at least 1 to 2 hours. And another is like, in the beginning, if you don't like coding in the beginning, you may find it really hard to stick to it, but I think persistence is the key. That has happened with me as well. So initially I didn't like, I never liked coding, but then I started doing it, and actually I got so much interest that I am doing it even right now. So it's all about persistence, it's all about not giving up. So you keep doing it, and eventually you will start liking it. So yeah. BCom students can also do coding. Any student from any of the streams can do coding. Anyone can do coding. There is so much content out there on Google, on YouTube, that anyone can go read the basic stuff and do coding. There is no such thing as a computer science graduate or a BCom, or anyone. There's no such thing like that right now. Yeah.
I guess that is pretty much interesting to know because I am not from a technical background and I now might start coding as well. So,
I
all right. So when we see, let's say, when we see your journey, there is this, a big switch from software engineering to Android development.
Yeah.
So first of all, it is very, it is often heard software engineering, there is software engineering, software development. So what basically a software engineer do? I mean,
Mm,
what is the role?
mm. Yeah. So if we talk about the difference between what a software developer is and and who a software engineer is, so a software developer is somebody who knows what to develop, and he just goes ahead and code it and implement it and develops it. While software engineer is a much wider term in the sense that engineering involves knowing what we need to develop. It's like contacting or getting in touch with the client, knowing his requirements, what he needs from us, then segregating it into different tasks, miniature tasks, because you can't develop the entire code in one go, in one sprint, or in a month. So we usually have sprints. We divide this entire feature development into miniature tasks, and then we take up one task at a time, which is actually development, right? And then we develop it, and once that software is developed, right at that time, the task of software developer ends. Whereas a software engineer then goes ahead, do the deployment, then there are testers who would test it, and then that this software needs to be shipped out, and once it has been shipped out, it also needs to be maintained. By software maintenance, we mean that we may have to ship out different versions of the same code, right, with the new features. So there's a lot goes into software engineering. Software development is a very small subset of software engineering, as a whole. So yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So, let's say you have transformed yourself or your journey from software engineering to Android development.
Mhm.
So obviously you might have had to learn a lot of other languages as well. So how did you switch and why the switch happened, and what interested you to switch maybe into the other domain?
Yeah, okay. So it was actually that I started my career with Android, and Android was a big thing right now, just like AI is right now. So at that time, Android was the buzzword, and luckily I got the chance of working in Samsung. So I had no knowledge of Android before starting my job. So uh, I learned that language while on the job. And so yeah, I mean, the first 4 years when I was with Samsung, we got to develop a lot of features. There were some very unique and very interesting features that we got to develop, and which was actually marketed quite a lot when Samsung Galaxy series was shipped out. So the switch was pretty easy because everybody at that time in the organization was working on Android. So even if I used to get stuck somewhere, then somebody would help us. There was a lot of material, training material, in the organization itself. And I mean, so that was me getting lucky because I had exposure to a lot of content and a lot of training. But if somebody who is not in an organization right now and wants to make a switch from their current stream profile to something new, then um, you can still, I mean, there is a lot of content out there in YouTube and Google. You can go ahead. Coursera is there. I mean, Pregrad, and you can just get a lot of content, and you can just go ahead and learn it yourself. So it's like, do it yourself. Yeah. So
Okay, okay. So, how is like, first of all, is there something that excited you? Because the excitement part is still missing.
yeah, I
For
mean, yes, yes.
yeah,
So I don't know if I mean, I don't know if you guys remember it or not. So right now we have this feature on YouTube, in fact, in any of the video streaming APIs, where you can control the speed of your YouTube video, right? So you can
yes,
increase it to 1.25 or 1.5, or you can decrease it to 0.25, 0.5, slow it down or make it faster. At that time, when I started, like, it was like, what, 10, 11 years back, it wasn't there. This feature wasn't there, and Samsung was the first one to develop it, and I was one of the members in the team which developed this feature. So we used to drag this progress bar, the circle on the progress bar. So we used to drag it up, and we could increase or decrease the speed of the video. This itself was so interesting that it actually hooked me to learn more about Android, and eventually develop a good amount of features. There was another one more feature which I worked on, and which was a smart pause. So the smart pause feature was that when the video is playing, and if the person is not looking up at the video and his eyes has moved out from the video frame, the video would get paused. So, I mean, that seek feature actually gave me so much interest, and I hooked to Android application development so much that that I went on to work on teams that developed such interesting features. So it was all about what I was able to deliver to the people or to the customers that hooked me, essentially.
okay. So, when we say, if given a choice between these two, I mean, what would be your preference? Although you're working right now as software engineer, but
Mm.
then again, what would be, your choice of the domain, whether it be, software engineering or completely Android development?
No, I think I'll go for software engineering. And I think that should be the focus of everyone here. Even for people who want to go out in the industry, because software engineering is a much wider you know uh, domain, in the sense that you get to understand your product from the customer's perspective, somebody who is going to use your product. And when you think about it from the customer's perspective, you would be able to, number one, innovate. You would be able to bring in a lot more to your software development, which is actually a subset, than if you only concentrate on software development. Because when you think about this product from a wider audience perspective, or from the customer's perspective, you would actually think of you using the product that you are developing. And when you think about it from the customer's mind, you would actually know what the customer might or might not like, what he may need or may not need. And when you give out to the customer the things that he has not asked for but would be very happy to have, then you have actually, in the sense, gained a customer. So
Very
I
true.
think, yeah, so I think people should think about it from that mindset, and therefore they should rather concentrate on being a software engineer than a software developer. Yeah.
Absolutely. I guess I got it when you mentioned about gaining a customer. It is,
Mhm.
it is very good to see, getting the satisfaction from the customers using your created features or something.
Yeah.
So, yes. So when we talk about, let's say, since it is very clear that software engineering has a lot more scope than
Mhm.
any other field, and then maybe you can switch to different domains as well.
Hmm.
But recently we have heard a lot about AI, how AI is, coming up, and how many AI tools are coming up with. So, what do you think? I mean, will the scope be very limited, or the job vacancies and everything will be, I know it is a very debatable question, but then again,
Yeah.
I would, yes, then again, I would, maybe have insight on the same, that will AI completely take our jobs in any way or other?
I don't think AI is going to take away our jobs completely.
Mm-hmm.
I was having this discussion with my father some day back, and he told me that initially, during his time, there were no computers. Okay, and people were having a very good life, and they were doing it all manually. And then suddenly, computers came, and he was in State Bank of India, and suddenly computers came, and employees were asked to get trained on computer. And at that time, a lot of people, that fear came in their mind that this computer is going to replace them, when actually it didn't. That was that time, that was a few years back. And now it is the same with AI. People are actually fearful that AI is going to replace them, but it is not the case. AI is going to take away some, some aspects, while it is also going to add new jobs. So it's all about retraining yourself from one domain to another, right? And I think it applies to people generally as well. I mean, it's not just about AI, it's about, because computer sciences, software development, it's very changing, it's very dynamic, one or the other technology is coming up every year. So I'm sure some 7 8 years back, or rather 10 years back, a lot of people might not have heard about cloud computing, cloud products, cloud solutions, but it is our mainstream right now. They wouldn't have heard about distributed systems, but it is how the softwares are getting developed right now. Like, it is absolutely essential to have a distributed system, right? And same is the case with AI. Like, until like last year, probably a lot of us might not have heard about AI, and now suddenly it has become a buzzword. Everybody is talking about AI. So first of all, it is going to take time for AI to replace some of those jobs. And also at the same time, it's not going to eliminate all of us. It is going to add on new jobs as well. So it's good to be like upskilling ourselves, and it is the case with not just AI. It is the case with every technology, because software development is very dynamic. You should always be ready to upskill yourself, learn new technologies, know what is going on in the industry, read about it, and you know just upskill yourself. So yeah.
Okay. So it is very true when all the people say that tech industry is ever evolving industry.
Mhm.
You have everything, every feature within few months coming up your way.
Yeah.
So very well defined. I mean, I personally was when you said that you still solve lead code problems and coding problems and coding questions. So it was very clear that how you are into the industry from last 11 years and you're still
Mhm.
doing that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is very clearly understood that tech industry is very evolving and it keeps on evolving. So upskilling is again one important factor, or keeping yourself updated with all the skills might add on to the launching of AI and AI things. So very true. So let's talk about cloud computing as we had this
Mhm.
minor discussion or minor word about cloud computing. So first of all, let us know what is cloud computing and why cloud computing. I mean,
Yeah, right. So, why cloud computing? I would actually like to talk about it from the distributed systems perspective, and I would actually like to talk about it from a very layman's perspective. So I'm sitting. So, sometime some years back, when our life wasn't so fast, it was a slow moving life. At that time, we weren't usually concerned about how much time it is taking for our page to load on our laptop screen, on our browser, right? But right, and we used to wait very patiently. I can talk about myself. I don't know. I think lot of people here are students, but I am pretty old, I guess. So I can talk about it from my school days. At that time, we used to patiently wait for our application to load on the browser. Okay, but right now it is so this life, it has become so fast, and it's only because of the technologies that we are getting to work with, or rather the features that are being provided to us on our face. We have Uber, we have Zomato, where with the Uber we are able to book our cabs, like what, in probably 1 minute max, at the max, or 2 minutes, or if the Uber is not available, then I don't know, probably an hour as well. But even in the case of Zomato, we can order our food sitting at home. Now, there are a lot of customers for those applications, and it's not that all of the customers are located in one region only. There is me, there is you. So me, who is living in Chandigarh right now, I'm staying here, and then there are a few people who are in Noida right now, probably a few in US, a few more in UK, and so we have people all across the world who are accessing those applications, and everybody wants it to load in, as I mean, as soon as possible, like not just as soon as possible, like probably in a few milliseconds, probably in microseconds. So now that's where the context of distributed system comes in picture, because uh, data is usually transferred in the form of electrical currents, right? And via wires. So the longer that wire is, the longer it is going to take your data to be transferred from one place to another. And that's why it is important that, so now if let's suppose your page, or rather your software, is loaded on an application which is probably in India, and somebody from the US is going to access that application. Now, because it is going to take time, traveling that data from this region to another region, the time for him to load that application is going to be a lot more than for anyone who is present in India. I'm talking about it from a very layman's perspective. I know we are all computer science people here, so we can think about it from, I mean, we can argue that we can cache our data and things like that. But you think about it from the first time somebody is trying to load that application, who doesn't have that data cached, right? It is going to take a lot of time for him, and therefore we usually replicate our data not just in one region but in multiple regions. So we have data centers in India, then we would have a data center in US, we have some data centers in Europe. So yeah, so I mean, because we have multiple data centers, we can actually put in our data, our software, or rather load that software, deploy that software on the machines present in different locations, so that people all across the world are able to get that data in a few microseconds or in a few milliseconds, whatever that organization or whatever that application has said that it will take to load that application. Okay, and that's where the distributed systems comes into picture. And now, how are you going to ensure that all of them are in sync? That's where cloud systems come into picture, because you need to be able to ensure that there is no stale data, or rather everything should be up to date. And that's where the entire cloud computing and distributed systems comes into picture. It is very important right now, because almost everyone in on earth is using a mobile phone. They have access to internet, and they can access anything and everything from any place in the world, actually. I mean, not just any, there may be a few places, for example, Arctic or Antarctic, where probably internet is not available, but I think it is right now. So yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that internet is widely used by people all across the world, and therefore this distributed system and cloud computing has become so much more important right now. Yeah.
Okay. So when we say that cloud computing,
Hmm.
also have a very large scope or a very big
Hmm.
scope
Yeah.
in future, because the upcoming future will be, I guess, all about data. We all have
Hmm.
data stored with us. The data transfer, the transfer of data. It is almost done in every minute or so. So
Hmm.
again, it has a very good scope, right?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want to ask
Definitely.
about the scope of this domain.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it is ever going to go away. It is so important. I would actually look at. I mean, I actually look at it as something. as important as any other stream, rather even more important, because I don't know, I think the scope of it is only going to increase with time. We used to have monolithic applications, and now every organization is making it a distributed system right now. They are migrating all of their monolithic applications to distributed systems. I have worked on two applications in my, I mean, at least in two organizations, I have worked on the projects where the core work was to migrate the application from a monolithic application to a distributed system. Okay. So one was Citibank, and another was one of the airline company, where one of the airline client, Boeing, with Infosys. Okay, so I mean, just think about it, that such prominent customers are trying to move their applications into cloud and into distributed systems, is very telling of in itself that how important cloud computing is. And we are not done as yet. We are still working. There are a lot of organizations whose applications are still monolithic, and they are trying to migrate it into microservices. So yeah, I mean, it has got a huge wide scope right now. Yeah.
Okay. So, when we say that if somebody from first, second year of their college or engineering wants to, or even from any other domain, wants
Mhm.
to learn about cloud computing and wants to know more about cloud computing, so are there any particular skill set, tools, languages that needs to be understood before applying for the same? Is it possible
Hmm.
for a student to apply as a fresher first of all?
Yes, yes, it is definitely possible. They can do some pilot projects, they can do some weekend projects on their own. And there's a lot of content where they can give a step-by-step tutorial for a beginner to create any of that application. All they need to know is how to create a microservice, and you can create a microservice using any language for that matter. You can use Java, Spring Boot, you can use Golang. You can, I mean, like, it's possible to create microservice using any of the languages. Okay, not any, but like a lot of languages. And then you can create a trial account on AWS, for example, or on Microsoft Azure. And then you, using that trial account, you can deploy your application. And so AWS also provides a lot of technologies and tools to to make it a more cloud centric. So you can use their tools or their technologies. You can include it in your code, and then you can use it and have a hands on this cloud computing and cloud and distributed systems. So yeah, I mean, it's very much possible for anyone for that matter to go ahead and do a pilot project. Yeah.
Yeah. So, when we see that, there are a lot of MNCs or a lot of great companies who hire for cloud engineers
Hmm.
specifically.
Hmm.
So, when we sit for interviews, are there any specific, questions that a interviewer or recruiter might ask, or is it very normal or related to your resume and your projects that you have completed?
No, actually, yeah. I mean, okay. So the interview process, it's very it's a little different from a product based company. And I mean, how an interview process is in a product based company and how it is in a service based company. So in a service based company, they would usually look at your resume, your current experience, the languages that you have worked on, and then the languages for which they are hiring, and they are going to ask you the concepts of those languages as well. Okay, so that's what service based company do. Whereas if you look at product based companies, the it's for the product based company, the interview is pretty general in the sense that they would have one round for DSA, probably two for DSA and problem solving. Then they would have one or two rounds for system design. So the system design usually is divided into two things. One is a low level design and another is high level design. Okay, and then in the end there would be a behavioral or a managerial round. So that's how the interviews are segregated. So usually the cloud based companies, for example AWS or Microsoft Azure, would ask, I mean, because they are product based companies, their interviews are usually very general, and they do not ask anything about about the language specifically, or rather they wouldn't ask you anything about the cloud technologies as such. It's good to have, it's good to know, but they are not going to ask you. What they do ask is your, or what they do look for is your problem solving skills and your system design skills basically.
Okay, all right. And first of all, I think if if one needs to get into the cloud engineering or something, it's very
Mhm.
important. Is it important to have some kind of internship as well as project, or if you have good amount of project and quality projects, it will be easier for you to crack it to the field.
In the case of cloud
Any summary?
engineering.
Yes, in the case of cloud engineering and software
uh,
engineering as well.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, yes, yes. I mean, your internships matter. So, okay, so there are a few things which I think everybody can do while they are in college, right? So one is to develop some good projects, okay, and put them on GitHub and share the link of that GitHub with, I mean, in your resume, okay. The second thing that you can do is you can, if possible, go ahead and do some hackathons. There are a lot of hackathons that a lot of organizations conduct, and if possible, if you can create a team, and if you're interested, then go ahead and participate in those hackathons. It's not about winning, it's more about participating, okay. If you win, it's very good, but don't think that I won't be able to do this, or I won't be able to win. Don't think about it from that perspective. You just go ahead and participate. The third thing that you can do is, of course, internships is important. I mean, if you're able to crack some internships in your second year, third year, fourth year, I think it is absolutely necessary to have an internship. But even if you're able to get hold of an internship of around 1 or 2 months in any of the company, it wouldn't matter really. But if in any of the company you're able to get hold of a 1 or 2 month internship, it is going to add a lot of value to your resume. And the fourth thing is contributing to the open source. So there are a lot of open source what do you call, open source code out there on GitHub. And like, if you're able to contribute to those open source code, then it is going to add a lot of value to your resume as a whole. So I think these are the four areas where a student can work on. Yeah. Okay, I think I've
so
answered this question. Mhm. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Anish, yeah, Anish Kumar has this question that from where can we, can we get project ideas? So there are a lot
Hmm.
of projects in every domain. So which project to do and which project to not do? It comes after a lot of search and a lot of hunting. So are there any kind of project recommendation that you would want us or students to, to know?
Yeah. Actually, honestly, I think it all would come from research. I cannot think of any particular website where you can go and look for project ideas. Maybe if you can Google it, you'll get some ideas, and then you can add on your imagination or your creativity into their ideas and develop something. Or even if you're not able to get an idea, you can still go ahead and develop something which is already present, okay. It's all about getting a hands on, right? You can it would be of equal, if not higher value, to develop something which is already developed. So you're basically replicating it, but you are doing it by your own hands. So that is also going to add a value to your um, resume. I remember, or rather I know one of my colleagues who is not who is probably 3 to 4 years of experience, and who has 3 to 4 years of experience, and he created a project of Book My Show. Okay, so basically he replicated some of the features of Book My Show. Book My Show is already out there, it's in production, people are using Book My Show. And still he created a project, rather replicated that Book My Show, a few features of that Book My Show. So what I'm trying to say is that what matters is how much hands on you are getting. um, So the gaming boy is saying please in Hindi. So मैं ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि अगर आपको कोई प्रोजेक्ट आइडिया नहीं भी आ रहा है, तब भी आप कुछ ऐसा भी बना सकते हो जो अभी ऑलरेडी मार्केट में है। तो जैसे बुक माई शो हुआ, या फिर जैसे कि थोड़े बहुत फीचर्स हुए जोमैटो के, या थोड़े बहुत फीचर्स हुए स्विगी के, राइट। उबर वुड बी अ लिटिल बिट मोर कॉम्प्लेक्स। या फिर ट्रैवलिंग का कुछ, जैसे कि फ्लाइट बुकिंग का, है ना। कुछ ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट्स में आई मीन यू कैन ऑल्सो कुछ ऐसा कुछ जो आप अपने डे टू डे लाइफ में देख रहे हो। और जैसे कि ऑटो बुक करने का, आई मीन उबर बुक करने का तो है ही हमारे पास, या कैब बुक करने का तो है ही। ऑटो बुक करने का कोई एप्लीकेशन, राइट। या फिर मैंने आई हैड दिस आइडिया, आई यूज्ड टू लिव इन दिल्ली, और उस टाइम पे ऑटो वाले मतलब कुछ भी, लाइक इफ यू वांट टू ट्रैवल टू सम डेस्टिनेशन, वो कुछ भी बोलते थे प्राइस का, और मीटर चालू नहीं करते थे। तो उस टाइम पे आई क्रिएटेड दिस प्रोजेक्ट अबाउट कि आप कैसे प्राइस कैलकुलेट करोगे बेस्ड ऑन कि क्या फेयर चल रहा है आजकल मार्केट में ऑटो का, राइट। कितना डिस्टेंस है, क्या फेयर चल रहा है, और उसको टोटल प्राइस कितना होगा। तो कुछ ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट, जो भी आपको प्रॉब्लम अपनी डे टू डे लाइफ में आ रही है, यूजुअली जितने भी स्टार्टअप्स निकलते हैं वो उसी से निकलते हैं। दे थिंक अबाउट इट कि क्या प्रॉब्लम्स फेस कर रहे हैं हमारे हमारी जनता, क्या प्रॉब्लम फेस कर रही है, एंड देन दैट्स व्हाट दे सॉल्व, एंड दैट्स हाउ द स्टार्टअप्स कम अप। सो
So I guess we are very much done with the the roadmap of all the domains, all the engineering side. So maybe let's shift to a rapid fire questions. Few questions if everybody is comfortable.
sure, I just wanted to answer one question from Kanishka. I think she said that the hackathon rejected today's ideas, which already exist. Okay, so yeah, I mean, hackathon would need to have some uniqueness, क्योंकि आई मीन सी, एक छोटी सी चीज अगर आप एड ऑन कर दोगे तो वो भी उसको यूनिक बना देगी एक ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग प्रोजेक्ट में। यू डोंट गो अहेड एंड कॉपी दैट ऑल एंड टू एंड। अगर आप एक एंटायर एग्जिस्टिंग प्रोजेक्ट में एक छोटी सी चीज भी ऐड कर दोगे तो भी वो उसको एक नया लुक देगी, राइट। तो और हैकेथॉन्स में यूजुअली वो लोग कुछ ऐसी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करते हैं जो कि काफी प्रिवेलेंट होती है। तो व्हेन आई सेड कि आप अगर अपना एक प्रोजेक्ट ही रेप्लिकेट कर दो तो वो भी सफिशिएंट होगा, इज नॉट इन रिगार्ड्स टू हैकेथॉन, बट रादर इन रिगार्ड्स टू जो प्रोजेक्ट्स आप अपने रिज्यूमे में ऐड कर सकते हो। हैकेथॉन के लिए यू वुड नीड सम यूनिकनेस जब आप अपना प्रोजेक्ट आइडिया लेकर जाते हो आगे। ओके, या
I'm just waiting for if any student has any doubts till now, we can maybe have all those doubts. Let's wait for let's say 10 seconds or something. Till then we can discuss about rapid fire. So we'll have 10 questions, this or that you can say, and you have to choose one. Okay. So I think it will be fun, but let's see how it turns out. Okay, it will be all related to engineering, programming languages, technology. Yes, ever evolving technology. So
okay, yep.
So the first question would be Mac or PC. What I can do, I can also ask students maybe that they can also participate and write in the chat box what they are, what they want to choose. And if any student is not, is not comfortable with programming languages, maybe they can skip the question.
Yeah. Yep.
So I guess सब बच्चों को समझ आ गया होगा यहाँ पे जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स हैं यू कैन ऑल्सो पार्टिसिपेट दिस और दैट के क्वेश्चंस में सो विल हैव टू थिंग्स और टू सिचुएशंस एंड यू हैव टू चूज वन और श्रुति मैम भी सेम शी विल बी ऑल्सो चूजिंग वन so the first one will be Mac or PC, any PC, normal PC.
PC, Windows.
Okay, that is very. I have never heard somebody, I mean, saying PC, but any specific reason behind the same?
I don't know, but why I chose PC is क्योंकि I never got the Mac. I never had that much money to spend on a Mac, honestly. पहले, and then I got so used to working on Windows environment ki I don't know. I just started liking it. Yeah. PC is much cheaper. Yes, Shashwat, PC is much cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Second question is coffee or tea?
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
a
we
tea
will have a
person.
few.
I'm a tea person.
Okay. I guess we'll have 50-50% majority because, yeah, then again, the coffee is also, I mean, I would choose coffee. So, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Next is, let's say if it could be a hackathon, or would you like to participate in the lead code, questions?
Hmm. Okay. I think it will be hackathon for me. Mm,
Hackathon. Okay.
yes. Yeah.
All right. Next questions will be a very funny one, but stand-up meetings or sit-down meetings. So I
Oh,
guess
sit down meetings. Yeah. Any day, stand ups. We used to have in one of my previous organizations, we used to have stand ups for 1 hour. And it used to get so tiring that eventually our team members asked our team lead to please have a sit down meeting, you know? So, yeah.
okay. The next would be Python or JavaScript, the backend languages. So yeah.
Python is the go to language. I mean, if somebody wants to venture out in AI, they should go for Python. Learn Python. Python is going to add a lot of value. Yeah.
All right. When we talk about, let's say, early bird or
Hmm.
night person, so what would
Hmm.
it be? Even for coding or learning or upskilling or any reason. So
I'm sure a lot of software developers are going to say night owl because
yes.
a lot of people, they do their core work during the night. But I am, I mean, I wake up early, so yeah, I'm an early bird.
Okay. So I guess we have a lot of college students, so they
Mhm.
will have classes late in the mornings, and even
Yes,
I used to have classes late in the morning. But when we shift into corporate, it's like the
yeah,
industry people wake up early, they have their routine, and they go to office. So
yeah,
I think that might also create a difference.
yes, yes, yeah.
Okay. Next would be maybe technical documentation or technical blogs. So what would to keep yourself updated, if we can say? So it would be technical documentation, some kind of, or are you good with blogs and everything?
No, I think it's the doc. Okay, so I mean, honestly, not a lot of people like documentation. In fact, nobody likes documentation. Even in the corporate, even in an organization, people hate documentation when they have to do it. Okay, but when they have to get that information from someone, they would be like, "Ki, Arey, why is this not present in a document?" Okay, so I would actually suggest people to start liking documentation, even if they don't like it right now, because it is going to, I mean, it's like it's mandatory. You will have to do it anyway. Okay. So start liking it right from the beginning so that you don't have a problem doing documentation. Also, documentation is actually very important. I'm sorry for, making it a little longer, but documentation
Oh,
is
it's
actually
okay.
extremely, yeah, so it's extremely important because you're not the only person who is going to work on a particular software or on a particular feature. Once you have developed, there are a lot of people who are going to come to you and ask you a lot of things about that software or that feature that you have developed. If you have a documentation hands on, you can just share that documentation and be done with it. And it should be so much clear so that even if you leave the organization sometime later, I mean, the other person who has come as your replacement or somebody who is now working on that feature or on that software should be able to understand what you have developed, and it should be easy for him. So that's how people are able to maintain software. So it's actually utterly important, you know.
Okay. So the next question would be podcast or audiobooks. I know a lot of people are not
Hmm.
interested into this question, but then again,
Mhm.
podcast or audiobooks.
I'd go for podcast. Podcast is very informative, actually much more informative than an audiobook. Yeah.
I agree. Okay. So next would be again the language,
Mhm.
React or Angular, the backend language. I think these are the stuff.
Yeah. No, this is a front end language, but I would go for React. Yeah.
React. Okay. And I guess there is a lot of debate on React and Angular that
Mhm.
which is more, which has a lot more scope. Or when
Uh,
we say that we need to do full stack development, so should we
mm,
start with React or should we do with Angular? So
mm,
let's discuss a little more about it, maybe
mm.
a couple of seconds or so.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
please.
yeah. Yeah, so I think React is what is in right now. Like I know that initially it was Angular, and then React came, and then everybody switched to React. Essentially, and this I'm talking about some 5 years back. Okay, 5 years back, our so we were working on one of the applications, and we started with Angular, and then suddenly we came to know. I mean, our people got to know about React, and they switched to React. They were already working on Angular, and then they switched to React. So React is something which is in market right now. Almost everybody is working. I mean, if in the case of front end, almost every application is on React right now. So yeah, React is the tech to go. Mhm.
Okay, okay. So I get it. That was the complete, that was the last question of rapid fire. And I was just scrolling my maybe phone to look out if we have more questions, but we do not.
Yeah.
So, okay. So let's end up with this one question that what was your New Year resolution? Or do you make any New Year resolutions?
I don't. I actually don't make. What was my New Year resolution? Actually, I don't usually make New Year resolutions because I'm never able to complete that, or rather complete that goal. So yeah. I think it's all about improving yourself each day. I mean, that's the motto of my life. It's not really a New Year resolution, but it's like be a better person each day. So yeah.
So, all right, I we get it. So, let's end up with the session. And we were, first of all, very glad to have you. We have a question, Man Goswami. So,
Yeah. So how is
yes.
applying outside campus different? How do we prepare for it? Uh, yeah. So how outside, I mean, how applying outside campus is different is that you will have to do a lot of things on your own. When a company comes for on-campus placement, it's usually your placement cell or a few of the the influence of few of the professors that comes into picture when an organization comes, and they usually have a number in mind that they are going to select these many people, or the max number. Actually, they may not select anyone if they are not happy with the quality of the candidates that they are getting, but that is it. I mean, that's the end of it. Your placement cell working to get that company, to get that organization come in your campus for the interview is where the things end. After that, it's you who is going to give the interview, and how you're going to give and how your interview goes is what is going to decide whether or you are going to get placed or not. Okay, and this is the same with on campus and off campus placements. It's almost same. Okay, so and therefore the extra that you need to do when you go for the off campus placement is you need to get that referral, okay, for internship, probably or you can just go ahead and directly apply at the company's website for any open positions. Well, I mean, it would be good if you're able to get a referral from somebody who is already working in that organization. And nowadays a lot of people, they would just look at the open positions, they'll try to search for people who are already working in that organization, and they would request them to give a referral. Okay, and a lot of people are very happy to give out the referrals because they usually get some amount in return if the person gets selected, essentially. So don't be hesitated if you want a referral. Okay, go ahead, reach out to people, and especially right now when the market is pretty tough. The hiring market, it's not as rosy as it used to be some 3 4 years back. It is a little complicated right now. Hiring is still happening, but it's very selective. It's not I know a lot of people asking this question because um, I know companies are not coming to, I mean, on campus. It's not the same amount of organizations. I mean, I think the numbers has decreased a lot, and therefore a lot of people have to go outside and apply for off campus placements. And therefore it has become all the more important for you to not hesitate, go and ask for it. Just go and ask for that referral from anyone out there. Whoever you think is a good approach, go ahead and make that call. Don't be hesitated. Okay. I've got another question from Ashish. Which type of software engineer? Sorry, which type of software engineer interview in the product based company? So like as I mentioned, a software engineering interview in a product based company is very general. Okay, they usually ask DSA and problem solving. The initial, so they usually have a phone screen round, which is again a DSA problem, or rather any puzzle. Okay, and then the first or the first second rounds would usually be DSA and problem solving. The third round probably would be a system design, and a system design is usually divided into an LLD, low level design, and an HLD, high level design, and then after that a managerial round. So that sums up the interview process at a product based company. So what's the acceptance rate for the off campus and in campus drive, also through the career portals? The acceptance rate for off campus is usually lower than that in the on campus, because in on campus you know who your competitor is. It's your people, it's your friends, uh, your batchmates. In the case of off campus, it's usually a lot of other people too. There can be people from tier 1 organized, from tier 1 colleges as well, right? So that makes it a little difficult to crack, but it's not impossible. You can, with your hard work and with your persistence, you can still go ahead and crack that. So yeah. Do we have any other questions?
Okay, so I guess we are done with the
Mhm.
questions. You have any? Okay. So first of all, thank you, Shruti ma'am, for being with us and sharing a lot of, I know, 1 hour or 60 minutes could not cover a lot, but then again we had so much to learn from you, and there was a lot new things that we learned today, and I hope including me and all of the students are going to take a lot of things from this particular session. So thank you for sharing everything so wonderfully and so effectively, so conveniently, and it was a good session to have you. Looking forward to have more such sessions if open. So yeah, thank you for all the details that you shared with us.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, to end it, I just want to say that do not lose hope. Keep fighting and just keep upskilling and do all the hard work that you can do. Don't lose hope. Is all I wanted to say. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So thank you once again, and thank you to all of the students who were present here, and thank you for being part of this amazing session and becoming such an amazing audience. The recordings, as I've mentioned, will be made available to all of you on our social media pages. The link will be in bio, so you can check out. And that is it. Thank you, Shruti ma'am, for being here, and thank you to all of the students who were the part of the session.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.